Hello and welcome to another edition of Talking Scheidt. Don't adjust your sets. There's been a transfer. I would say an upgrade. Gary Kirkpatrick is off on his holidays, and guys, I'm here to save the day. Obviously, my name's Daniel Comm. Delighted to be joined by Football Scotland's Aidan Scott and Ewan Robertson. How are you both?
Doing good, you?
Great, thanks, Ewan. You're a bit quiet today. Not like you.
No, it's not like me, is it? I'm well, thanks. I'm well, thanks.
Glad to hear it. I think the only show in town this weekend, guys, is of course tomorrow's big derby match at Celtic Park between Celtic and Rangers, a potentially title-defining day for Celtic, and obviously a big game for Michael Owen Rangers as well. Ewan, I'll maybe start with yourself. I thought maybe we would start with Rangers just purely because they seem to have a lot more spinning plates, for want of a better phrase. Huge game for Beale. Obviously, win or lose, they probably won't win the league, but you kind of sense that there's a lot in the line for them.
Yeah, obviously the big Glasgow derby is tonight at Firhill. That's the one I'm interested in more. But looking at the smaller game tomorrow, yeah, it's massive for Rangers. I think the title's done regardless of the result, in my opinion. Even if Rangers win, Celtic are 6 points clear plus their goal difference as well. It's effectively, even if Rangers win, it's effectively 7 points. So yeah, and Celtic don't lose. When did they last lose? Like September, October to St Mirren. Yeah. They've won pretty much every game apart from when they play Rangers at Ibrox in the previous fixture. So yeah, I don't want to put a downer on like building up to this massive game, but I think the title's already Celtic's, regardless of the outcome tomorrow. But I think for Beale, it's a massive game. I was taken aback a little bit by the criticism he got in the aftermath of the cup final, because since he came in, he's won every game apart from the two against Celtic, which is you know what I mean. What I know you've got to beat Celtic when it's effectively Scottish football's a duopoly, but like. He was getting it tight after that game for his team selection, which I always think is quite easy to look back at full time and say, "Oh, I should have started those players." But if you looked at before the game, there wasn't too many people saying that his team selection was wrong. So I think for Rangers, the season's all going to come down to the Scottish Cup. They have to beat Celtic in the semi-final. So I think they have to go out and put a good performance tomorrow and get something out of it. But I don't think it's going to have any impact on the title race.
And Aidan, I think you makes a fair point. You would think even if Rangers can get a victory tomorrow, it's still very much Celtic's to lose. I mean, Celtic haven't won a full league campaign, winning every game at home, but they have done so far. They've only got 4 left, including tomorrow. I mean, that how do you argue with that? I think, like Ewan's right. I mean, it's pretty hard to beat Beale over the head when the only points he's dropped has been to Celtic.
Yeah, he's just up against a behemoth, isn't he? Really, that's what it's like these days. But I mean, I suppose for Rangers fans, I mean, it's the Celtic are the ones that you're going to be tested against for the Rangers manager. So to most Rangers fans, it doesn't matter how good Celtic might be. Ultimately, this is what a manager is going to be judged on: is how well they do against Celtic. And if he keeps going any length of time, sorry about that. If he keeps going any length of time, this is what happens when the Easter holidays are on. So, but if he keeps going any length of time without getting a win over Celtic, then no matter how well he does in other games, there's always going to be the grumblings, isn't there? So, yeah, from the outside, I would say it's probably not fair that he's being judged against this Celtic team in particular. Especially when he's only played a game, but. Again, that's being a manager of.
Sorry, I think we lost you a wee bit there towards the end, Aidan, but I think we got the gist of that, didn't we? I mean, looking at the team though, Rangers, one of the big areas that's up for debate is up front. I mean, Alfredo Morelos, to me, looks like he's got 1 foot out the door, although he's been that way for about 3 seasons. Would you start him or Čolak? I've seen people saying they wouldn't start either.
See, to be fair, as a complete neutral, I'd start Morelos because he's fireworks, isn't he? There's something bound to happen, and I love that sort of. I think he'll be missing Scottish football. I think he'll be missing Scottish football because he's been blockbuster since he came here, hasn't he? He's added so much to our game in terms of excitement and stuff like that. So I'd start him. But I'd actually, if I was taking off my sensationalist hat, I would probably go with Sakala. Because I think his pace could be a threat against Celtic. His pressing's probably better than Morelos. I know you can maybe play Sakala and Morelos, but then what do you do with Tillman? It seems crazy that Tillman's role's even up for debate here, given he scored 2 goals last week and he's been really good for Rangers. But against Celtic, he's been a bit of a passenger. In the previous game, I know the semi-final the final, he wasn't fully fit, I don't think, but I mean, he was miles off it, wasn't he? And there's other games as well. I don't know if he's really suited to the kind of intensity and the demands of this game. So, listen, that's why Beale's paid big bucks to make these decisions. So, I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do because Ken's going to play, isn't he? Yeah. Cantwell's going to play. You'd imagine Ryan Jack will play. If Raskin's fit, Raskin plays. Sakala, you think would probably play. He scored against Celtic at Celtic Park last season. His pace, so it leaves you either Morelos or Tillman, doesn't it? I don't know.
Well, Aidan, I'll throw it over to you. I mean, I agree with you, and I think it'd be mad to even consider dropping Tillman. He's arguably Rangers player of the season, but yeah. I did see Kenny Miller saying the same thing as well the other day, and I don't know. Would you start him?
I would start him just because, like, I know he's looked quiet against Celtic so far, but as you pointed out, there was the sort of questions over his fitness in the final. I just think he's one of Rangers' best players. Like, I don't think they can sort of afford to not play him. I think the fans would certainly like to see him play. For me, I would certainly be surprised, come tomorrow afternoon and I see the team news and he's on the bench, and I think that's something if. Excuse me, if Rangers do end up losing the game and Tillman hasn't started, that'll probably be something that Beale's sort of beaten over the head with, won't it? Given that he's one of the best players. You'll probably find that Kenny Miller is then one of the guys that will question that afterwards if that's the way it ultimately plays out. So one of those things, he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't, isn't he? But for me personally, I'd be surprised when he doesn't start tomorrow.
Well, move across the city. Celtic, well, obviously a lot less kind of positions up for debate, but still a couple. I mean, I've seen a lot of Celtic fans talking about maybe O getting a start, and obviously Moy has been sensational this season. I think he's been declared fit. We'll start with O. Would you throw him in, or would you stick with Kyogo through the middle?
I'd stick with Kyogo, just for his record this season, but. See, to be honest, I put in the group chat last week. I was really impressed with O and his cameo against Ross County. I like him. He's big, he's strong, he's powerful. He looks like he's quite quick as well. There was that ball that came out there from Joe Hart, and he just controlled it dead, turned his man. I was like, Kyogo maybe doesn't offer that. Kyogo's been brilliant this season. If there's space behind a defence or his movement's unbelievable. You can't argue with it. You can't. I don't think that Ange Postecoglou will drop Kyogo for this game because he doesn't deserve to be dropped. But I like him. I honestly do. He's like he's probably more similar to Giakoumakis in terms of profile. And I think there's games certainly maybe look next season in Europe. Kyogo's reckon Europe's not good. You can maybe put a win, but I just think that he's got to start. Like I don't think that. Gary Roberts and that might be my uncle, same second name.
Like Gary.
It wasn't me suggesting that, Gary, but Kyogo's got to start. Yeah.
And just to clarify, I agree. I think he will start and he should start. But O looks so hungry, and like Ewan says, Aidan, he looks absolutely brilliant. I almost wish, and it will never happen, but because Ange is so wedded to 4-3-3, I'd love to see them both up top. But it's not going to happen, is it?
I mean, it'd be certainly interesting to see what it was like. I don't think he's going to test that out in the Old Firm. I think it'll be, as you both say, I think Kyogo's going to start. I can't see. The only way Kyogo wouldn't start tomorrow is if there's some sort of injury concern that we don't know about. But I mean, in terms of, Celtic fans and Ange Postecoglou will be certainly glad that they've got someone like O, based on what they've seen from him so far. They'll be glad that they've got O on the bench. You know, he can come on and make an impact or whatever. But yeah, I mean, Kyogo's been brilliant all season and definitely deserves to get the start tomorrow. And I don't think there's any question that he won't get it.
Aye. And Ewan, back to the midfield debate. I mean, I thought Iwata was good at Ross County as well. And I actually thought when he came on in the final, he was only on for 15, 20 minutes, but I actually thought, he looked like a really promising player. He could be in line for a start, but as I say, if Moyes fit, I don't know, who would you go with?
It's all about Hatate, isn't it? So far, we don't know if Hatate's fit. I know, there was you couldn't see Taylor and Hatate in the training photos yesterday, but I mean, that could well be mind games, couldn't it? It happens all the time. The club released training footage and the two players that are doubts aren't in it. It's like, whoa. I think Hatate's been the best player in Scotland this season. I'll be voting for him for my player of the year. I think he's been outstanding. I thought Celtic missed him against Ross County. I thought Iwata looked good as well. My only concern with him, and I don't see how this is going to go long term, is he's probably best as a number 6, which is where Callum McGregor's been playing. I think McGregor's just better in there. I think when McGregor played as an 8 last week, I think you missed what he offers in that deeper position. I'm a Cal Mac fanboy. I love him. I think he's a brilliant football player. He goes under the radar sometimes when you see like Kyogo and Jota and Hatate getting praise all the time. Carter Vickers, McGregor for me is probably arguably Celtic's best and most important player still. Right. So I think if Hatate's fit, I'd go McGregor, Hatate, and Moy. If they're all fit, maybe O'Reilly over would be the one to come in maybe over Moy. But yeah, I think that Celtic's best midfield three, especially since the World Cup break, has been those three. And I think if they're fit, they'll play.
There's your pal Gary backing you up again. Aidan, it's a fair point. I mean, I do think Iwata did well, but if Moy's fit, if Hatate's fit, I don't really think Ange has much of a decision to make.
No, neither do I. If they're fully fit, then those two have got to play. I mean, I'd agree with you. I mean, Hatate's been he's been the player of the year for me. He's just been absolutely brilliant all season. The only thing you can say with Moy is that Moy was a bit quieter before the World Cup, and then since the World Cup has been great. So but Hatate's just been consistent all season long. But yeah, if the two of them are fully fit and ready to go, then yeah, I think they've got to start. Again, it'd be the same thing that I was saying with O beforehand. Is that in Iwata's case, it's another good substitute to have to be able to come on, isn't it? If for whatever reason Moy or Hatate have to come off in the second half. So
you think about who the wee one would start?
I know. I should maybe ask other opinions at this rate as well. But yeah, no, I'd start Moy and Hatate, and then you've got Iwata is able to come on, assuming that those two are fit, of course.
Yeah. Well, guys, I could do it all day, but I don't want to keep you too long, and I'll finish with putting you on the spot, which I love to do. Ewan, predictions, what do you think?
I'll go for 5-0.
That's interesting.
No, I'm joking. I'll go... to be fair, Celtic are the best team in the country this season. I don't think anyone will dispute that. I don't know if there's as much between the sides as some people have been suggesting recently. I think Celtic are the better team, but Rangers on their day, they've got good players. I think they need to turn up and put a performance in. I think there's more pressure on Rangers going into this than Celtic. I think the title's already wrapped up. I think Celtic will win it by the odd goal. I think it will be 2-1. I'm going for 2-1 Celtic. And hopefully, I think it was the last Old Firm game at Ibrox was no book until the 80th minute. Hopefully it's a bit more of an exciting game.
You're not advocating red cards, are you?
No, not advocating red cards, but it's a showpiece fixture in Scottish football. You want it to be full of drama, incident, and of course good football as well.
Bit of blood and thunder, I get you. Aidan, no pressure, but what's the score going to be?
Well, in my prediction the other day, I went with. I can ask my daughter what she thinks. I went for 2-1 to Celtic. I went for 2-1 to Celtic. 2-1 to Celtic is what I've went for. Sorry about this. And that's what I went for the other day. So that's my shout.
For what it's worth, I'm going to go 3-1 Celtic. I think they'll be too strong. I think it will leave Beale without an Old Firm win in 3, and that's not a very good place for either manager to be in. And I think it's a de facto title party for Celtic. I mean, I could be wrong. Guys, I think that more or less brings us to the end of today's Talking Shite. Anyone watching, you can continue to get involved in the discussion in the comments section below, and you can find us on, obviously, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Guys, as always, it's been a pleasure. And thank you for watching. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.